Hello. Here we are, back again. Okay. Welcome back to the second part of this animation live demo. Today we'll continue on the shot that I created or started on Wednesday. And yeah, we're going into the spline phase. Gonna do some polish, hopefully finish it today. And yeah, I'm happy for you guys' questions. So please let me know if you have any questions during the stream. Last time, some people were asking for some key mapping interface so you can see the shortcuts that I'm using. Now, I gotta say, the shortcuts I did customize quite a bit to fit my own preferences. And mainly, like for instance, to set a key, the default shortcut is I, and I switch it to Z, simply because I want my shortcuts to be as close as possible to each other, so I don't have to reach over to the other side of the keyboard to actually make a key, which is the thing I use the most. So you might be, confused by some of the shortcuts that I'm using, but it's a nice insight of what kind of things shortcuts I'm using. So, where did we leave our animation? Just a little recap from last week. We started off by having this little sketch. Actually, I gotta change the keyboard here. Here we go. So this is where we started, just for the guys that are tuning in for the first time. It's a little sketch I did, and we explored some blocking options with Rex, and this is where we ended up. So, just to give you a bit of some info, I did refactor some of my animation, and that's mainly for the twist. In hindsight, the rotation order, like the rotation order of the torso bone, which is currently this one right here, has been, by default, it's XYZ, I believe. Yes. And it caused a lot of gimbal craziness. So I converted my keys to actual YXZ. So and it's a bit technical. We'll get into animation in a second. But basically, because it's doing the spin, you want that, because it's rotating the most on that axis, you want that axis to be the dominant one and not be influenced by the other axes. And that will help us a lot when we go into splining. As you can see now, if I go actually to my Y rotation here, it actually is a proper curve where you definitely see that rotation happening. So that's something I did, and I didn't want to bother you guys with that, but that's something to, be aware of, and I should have before I started, to make sure that the orientation of the bones, the rotation order of the bones is set correctly. And usually X and Y are the coordinates that you use the most for like bipedal characters, and that's just because you don't rotate that much on the Z axis not full circles. It's very weird to do like stuff like this. And then again, you know, I talked to Demeter about the actual rig, and he did add an extra bone. I'm not using it because I fixed it like this. But thank you, Matt. Next time we'll use double bones and switch them up, or like have an actual extra bone to do those twists. Anyway, enough tech talk, or let's see what you guys wrote in the chat. And I see in the comment, or like the top comments, we demand Rick to animate with a reference. I will, okay? I will in future animation streams. I will use reference, but to me it's very much a preference per shot. I will do an acting shot later on where it requires more acting and more deliberate or subtle motion where reference really comes in handy. But because I explained earlier, this shot is very much having fun and be very cartoony with the character, I started off with actual drawings. So, okay, just wondering if you use the NLA, and if yes, in which cases. I did use the NLA quite a bit on Sprite Fright, and the main reason was because we were working with animation on 2s. The NLA editor, when you convert your action, or like stash it, is that what it's called, into the NLA editor, you can actually apply modifiers on top, which is the stepped interpolation modifier. And you can quickly preview your animation on 2s without breaking your keys or baking it down. So it's a nice non-destructive way of actually, preview your stuff on 2s. I didn't use any animation layers with the NLA, and I have to dive into that, to be honest. I do know a couple of people use some sort of add-on that works with the NLA that kind of emulates animation layers, but it was a bit unstable in some cases for the show. So yeah, I have to look into that though. All right. Yes, Rex is still alive. I mean, he's skating in heaven. Come on, this is all he wanted. Okay, let's stop talking and do some animation here. Now, this is always a scary part where you basically have all your poses kind of set up and you want to convert that to spline keys. And what you basically do is, you know, you say to the computer, make my animation great and do the interpolation in betweens. And the computer is not always, I mean, to be fair, the computer does in between things quite nicely with Berger curves and automatic clamping and whatnot. But it is still a computer, and I would say the more control you have over your keys, the more handcrafted and deliberate you can make your choices. So that's why I put in quite, as you can see, I put in quite a bit of blocking, because I don't want to leave random and coincidence over to the computer. I want to make sure that the choices that I've made are still there and it doesn't become this very spaghetti, floaty, computery mess. So, but it's always a scary part because it goes from very deliberate choices to, computer generated stuff, which is not always a bad thing. But so before I do that, I always make sure that I key everything I want to key. So everything actually has a key on frame 1 or 2, I think, but also your space switches are keyed and don't have any interpolation, so they are keyed from one frame to the other. What I mean with that is, for instance, we do a space switch here when we jump up, we go from IK here to FK. And I want to make sure that when I have these bones selected, and actually, where is the other one here? You see, like on these little property bones behind the feet, they're actually on the IK bone, but that's fine. I keyed these ones from frame, and actually, let me show you the graph here. I basically, does it even show? Do I need to? Oh wait, there's a lot of course there are a lot of properties here, and I only need, I think it's this one. So just key it like a switch. So you switch it on from one frame to another. So when you spline it, it doesn't become this floaty transform from one space, or like from IK to FK, just to save yourself a lot of headache finding that out later. That's always something I do. Make sure that your switches are tight, and then we can basically hit the spline button, make everything great. So for today, yeah, let's see how far we can get. So I select all my keys. Let me check. Yeah, I only want these to be keyed right now. For the face, I'm not sure if we can get to it. It's not going to be much, but usually I block out or like spline the body controls apart from the actual face. So the face is a separate thing. It's a separate item on the list that needs to be done. So only the body for now. Select everything, hit T, and then I can, from constant, I'll go to Bezier or whatever. All right, this is always cringing. So let's see what we have here. Yeah, and you see like the, I mean, it's all there. You see the curves are working. It's a bit linear and floaty at times, where the computer is just simply in-betweening. So some of the sections we want to retime a little bit, clean up those curves, and then push poses even further. But it holds up pretty well, and yeah, I'm pretty happy to see this. So, all right, let's see. Can you show how Spline will be looking like? Do you mean the actual graph, or, I mean, I'm going to spline. So this is spline, but I'm going to spline it even more. Let's go back here. So first thing I'm going to do, I do have some more questions. Sorry, I try to keep more track of the chat here. Sprite Fright, did you only use constant interpolation? I did use the NLA once in a while when we needed quite smooth motion, like with a bird trajectory. I splined it out and used the NLA to kind of in between it automatically. But on a lot of, and everybody had their own workflow. I know some people worked only in constant interpolation. So yeah, it was a personal preference. Question. Full rig including the character itself as an asset to the new asset library. Is it possible to add a full rig including the character itself as an asset to the new asset library? I'm not sure. That's something for either Sebren to answer. I'm not sure about that. Cool. All right. Let's clean this up here. So first thing I'm going to do, I will I start from the biggest the biggest motions, make sure that the overall arcs are working a bit better. You see it's a bit floaty here, a bit linear, and that's mainly because I didn't add extra keys here, as you can see in my action editor. It's on 4s, so that's why it's kind of like being a bit floaty here. And yeah, so let's clean that up. So I start with the main bone and look at the actual graph here, and you can see that already happening here quite clearly. I'm just looking at the Y right now, but you see like it has some sort of a flat tangent and then goes up again, and it's not very nice. So don't distract yourself by creating the most beautiful curves ever. Always take a look at your actual animation, because sometimes, you know, the camera angle or the camera movement is actually influencing your curve. So you don't want to have you don't want to have perfect curves, but the animation is terrible. So but in this case we can fiddle around a little bit. And is this the start? Yes, let me go a bit smaller here. All right, just want to amp it up a bit. We go down, and then here I just want to push it down a little bit more, and then we go up. And then from here the velocity is quite steep. I do want to actually continue that a little bit more, and then, you know, make that arc a little bit more accurate as of physics. Like if you have a bouncing ball, you do want to reduce the velocity over time, and then suddenly gravity kicks in and kind of pushes it down again. And then this is quite linear, and then it slows down and speeds up again. So that's, you know. And then here I actually, let's see, it does go. So this is actually fine, because I was actually thinking of making this a bit steeper as well, to kind of like, but it's already touching the ground here with his right foot, and that kind of covers the weight that goes down going into this big jump. So, but we can actually steepen it a bit just to get a bit more weighty. And then here I'm only using the up and down here. We'll jump to another, so it's going up, same thing, it's a bit wobbly here. So you can also, you know, delete some keyframes simply to get things a bit smoother. I mean, whatever takes it there. Jump, let's go a bit more down. That. And it holds there. And I do like the fact that we're exaggerating the hang time. So, but these keys are not there, I mean, for any reason. So that goes down. A bit more. Okay, continue. When you have a massive shot, like 10 seconds long, that's big, you tend to slice up or chunk up your splining process. Because it's one shot, I do, you know, go over it a bit general from the start, and then maybe we'll chunk it up later. So we work only on the first 20 frames and then make that look good and kind of go to the next. So it goes down here. Yeah, and this, I just want to, then stays down and goes up. Yeah, that's nice. I don't mind that. Cool. All right. Now we go to just the Z, which is, you know, this should be X, but it's C. So let's see. This is quite linear, so that's nice. It's nice to give that slide in, jumps up, and it does speed down a little bit. We could say, let's, you know, just to make the flow a bit better. And I'm also like trying things out here. So just smooth a little bit out there, and then there's a big swoop going up. So from here, we don't want to speed up to the side. We want to speed up upwards. It does go pretty steep here, so let's see if we can shave a bit off the actual. And sometimes I just delete a couple of keys. I don't mind. How does this feel? That's not, yeah. So, and then there's a little bit of a hiccup here. That's a rotational thing. So you see it's banking a little bit to this side, and then suddenly it jumps back. So we'll figure that out. But this is, yeah, it's going down. Cool. All right. Let's see about your comments here. Okay. Please put in question marks so I can easily filter questions. When I watch animation, I always ask myself how animator animate hair. Can you explain that? Animation of hair, yes. Well, it depends if you animate 2D animation, stop motion, or 3D. But let's keep it in 3D. It's not as hard as it seems, I guess. I think a similar technique, and what we're gonna do later is animate some hair here. It's basically creating overlapping animation. I do know at some studios they have automated systems for this. Basically, kind of a wiggle modifier where you can set up your stiffness and dragging features. So, but I tend to animate as much by hand as possible, and we'll jump into that later. Okay. Is there a reference video to this animation? Once more. I sketched it out, so I did a sketch here. You can watch the previous video at the beginning of this stream. I showed the sketch. There's no reference because I find that also kind of restricts the expressiveness and the cartooniness of this animation, and I wanted to have fun here and actually you know, don't be bound by real life. I try to live in my own fantasy here. Okay, let's continue. So now I'm going to simply spline and adjust some of the elements. So let me just go over some of that for the first jump here. And I'm not necessarily looking at spline all the time. I just want to, just going in. A bit further, wait. That's a terrible key. Yeah, I do want to lead a bit with the body here. So Just open it up. There we go. And then for this jump, I already, lean into some stretching. So I stretch it. And what I'm mainly looking for is also in splining, what I was mentioning last time is like the flow of the shapes from one to the other. And here is a little bit of a hiccup in rotation. Let's see. I do want to rotate him already a bit further. And then there's that hic. So I put a key here. Basically delete this key. Probably a little bit. That's not helping me at all. Let's see what let me actually turn off the stretch bones. I don't need them right now. What is happening here? Let's key this one here and then it's wobbling a little bit. Let's So I'm basically tracking the head here, kind of like make some sort of an arc, or like at least make it. It's not necessarily an arc, but at least make that a bit fluent. Come in. So this is just me trying stuff out with the stretch, pushing it, and then maybe even I'm gonna just in between the, like that. And here I want to actually do the same thing with the thighs. I didn't animate the thigh at all. We'll do that to also clean up some shapes here. And I do. So from here. Oh. So when that stretch happens, I do stretch his butt a little bit. And then it will come down on this key, and then right here probably rotate it, because now as you can see it's quite busted. Normally you would actually have something a bit more curved there, and then it's okay. I mean, you could actually do it the other way, and this is what I'm talking about with cartoony stuff. You could also just make it, and again it's a bit broken, but you could actually reverse that curve and make it all part of, That's a terrible idea, but let's see. Yeah, it's terrible. But you gotta try things out here. just to have fun and see what crazy stuff you can come up with that would still work. That's how you come to, you know, new ways of animation, new ways of creating motion. It's all the illusion, and yeah, that's what we're trying to do here. Okay, now let's focus on that first bit a bit until the jump here. So everything does go a little bit at the same time here, also the hands and everything. So I'll go to the hand later on. Let's do the head. So just grab the head bone, and I just want a little bit of overlap there. Then, and before it comes up, I do rotate it a bit down, just push it down. Oh yeah, this is something, it's a rigging thing. Amateur, no. But for the camera, I'm fine for, you know, pushing it a little bit like that. With Rex, because he basically doesn't have a neck, it's better to actually use the neck control. So if you take the neck control and rotate that, you do have a better deformation. But then here, so we go down. I do want to straighten him up already a bit, like this. Same for the head. We could try a little bit of stretching here, and I just simply scale the Y. Why not? So, and we basically settle it on not the next frame, but this frame right here. So I hit Shift E and S to kind of like in between only the scale. I'm not sure about that, actually. Better push it too far than too little, or you can always push back easily. So let's push that back a little bit. Do have a flavor of it, and then here as well. Okay, and then after the jump, I want that head to actually drag a little bit. So not too much, of course, but okay, we don't worry about that part, so not yet. So to emphasize the squash, which is basically this part right here. We could actually push it down a bit more even. Why not? And then, oh, it goes up. Okay. We do some rotation there. I want to see what it's like if we actually... Sorry guys, my brain goes into a lot of things when I look at my animation. I'm like, hey, wait a second, let's try this. So it might be a bit, yeah, hard to follow, but that's how my brain kind of, that's how I animate. So from now I was thinking of, it's going down pretty linear. Let's let it go a little bit more up, and then so right here, and then go down. Yeah, it has a little bit more of a punch when going down and then up. Great. I like it. Now, I'm not fully polishing now. I just want to have layers over layers. So we do a spline layer on top of the whole animation. And I want to kind of, you know, go back to the beginning after that. So here I do Shift E, go back a little bit. So I do want to keep that stretch, but I do want to move forward, which is Shift E, G, Z, no, X, no, Y. There we go. Oh, it's going forward quite fast. Shift E, G, Y. Just to give it a, so this is the initial position, go a bit further. Zoom, and then, so it sticks here. Could actually do a little bit of a roll here. Oh, sorry, this one. Wait, this one right here. So it has a bit of a jump there. Okay. Now for the other foot. It gets a bit into, like it comes down and then it rides on the horizon there. We do want to follow that arc, so going down, then this one. Right here, I want to actually move it a bit more down there. Ooh, and then this one a bit more up. That makes that turn to the next, and I actually already want this leg to then again, what about silhouette, Rick? You don't care about the silhouette? I do, but for motion, yeah, so here it's like coming up and then suddenly coming down. Let's make that arc a bit nicer and simply like putting a key before and then already instigating that movement down. Now for this, I actually want that foot to be already on the floor a little earlier. So it snaps. Oh, okay, not that. Okay, let's go to the chat real quick. When it, okay. When I click, okay, I always find myself gimbaling my rig when I spline from blocking. Any tips to make it smooth? Yes. Short answer, make sure that your rotation order is set correctly. For example, here I do this massive spin right here, and that's all the y-axis, and I would say my rule of thumb is the axis that you use the most in rotation, make sure that those are the dominant ones. So to avoid any gimbal locking, you make sure that that you're, for this particular case, I put the Y first, and then X is the second one, and Z is the next one. Just so, yeah, just to kind of avoid gimbal locks as much as possible. And then, but sometimes, yeah, it's just, that's how it is. That's, you gotta work around. Sometimes a Euler filter is, I know Maya is an Euler filter, but I'm not supposed to speak about Maya. Sorry, guys. No, kidding. Are you on Linux? Yes. Any specs on my computer is in the description. Make the hat float a little bit. Yes, that's something I want to do. Can you make me good at animation? Yeah, man, watch this stream. You will become the best. I mean, you gotta do the hours for animation. There's no shortcut. You really gotta do a lot. Anyway. So, about the hands. Oh, no, sorry. We were working on the feet here. So, it's coming down. I want to have that part a little snappier. So, actually, let's delay these keys a bit. And then let's see. So what's always nice to kind of think about is to overlap your actions. So in this case, I try to lead with this foot, and that kind of makes the animation more dynamic and more natural instead of moving everything down at the same time. So you want to, it does get, has a little hiccup here though. So let me see if I can get that out of there. So I'm looking for that, and that's the same thing what I do here. I go with the body up first, and then the rest is following. It gives a nice squash and stretch element to the whole motion, and yeah, something to keep in mind. Okay, and now the other foot, this one. So we do have that motion here. And it sticks to one place, as you can see. And we try to get rid of that. We want to make sure that the motion up is actually moving up. And for these kind of motions, I rarely go into the graph editor and try to manipulate the curves. I am one of those dirty animators that just muscle through and key whatever I want. I want to force this stuff to be how I want it instead of trying to so it does, yeah, it there's the lack of keys here. Actually, there it holds there, so we can go up a little bit here already. And then I do like this pose, so I want to hold this pose a little bit there. And then it goes a bit snappy from this slow hang into this. So let's see if we delete this key. And it comes down a bit. Yeah, and you see like it's going down and then suddenly it's going straight. So that's stuff we need to clean up. So, and actually, yeah, let's leave it up a little bit higher. A bit higher too. So we basically hold that leg, and then here, same thing. Even I'm looking now for this arc to be. So instead of going straight here, I'm going down. And then here, we could already touch the ground with the skate. Maybe not. It's like... You guys are like, is this sound off? No, I'm in the zone here, right? Cool. I dig it. Let's do the hands. I might be a little bit too nitpicky here, especially with the stream. So let me see if I can, not go too crazy with the arcs here and go actually to some overlapping stuff, because that's also adding a lot to the motion. So you need to pick and choose where to add your time if your time is limited. Anyway, let's go back to the stream, to the chat here. Sprite Fright New Year edition. Yes. Everybody raises from the dead and starts ice skating. Okay. Okay, I don't see any. Which GPU are you using? It's in the description, I think. I'm not sure. I think it's in the description. All right, let's do the arms here, just for that beginning part. So you see the arms are pretty much tied to the body the whole time, and we want to also make them a bit more dynamic. So from here, let's say he's coming in, his hand a little bit lower, raising it a bit more. Maybe I don't want to keep it a bit more like that. And then when we jump, we rotate the other way around. So it's like, here we jump. Fiddling around a little bit with the motion of this arm. Now with this other arm, put a key here. I want this arm to come up. So where it is right now, maybe lower it a bit. And here we, yeah, like that. Brings it up, and then as we kind of make the jump, we wanna, and I'm also gonna key a little bit of this hand here. So kind of, I want to, you know, mumble, to have a little bit of a swoop on the arm here. Swoop. And comes back on the other side. We're gonna accentuate that motion here because I do like this pose. And then same here, we can actually break it a bit. And what I mean with that is kind of, not that. Goes this way and then it goes down. Let me. Ooh, that's broken. That is broken. Look at that. I think that's a stretch bone that's going rogue, probably because it's blind. But it does flow nicely. Okay. Do some hands as well. And also these, you see, you know, we'll do a peel pass later on. I don't mind that for now. Right here. It is within the pose, within the you could say, like, let's make this frame also a little bit like that to get a bit more, and then switch it over. Yeah, fine. We haven't touched the fingers yet, but and then suddenly that arm shoots up. So let's see if I can. There's a lot of stretch bones going rogue. Let me turn on my stretch bones. Is this? Yeah, there's a, look, I didn't key it properly. That's the thing what happens when you don't key when you don't tighten up your keys before you go spline. It's like there's a key here which is just on 0, and then slowly it goes to stretch, and it only needs that stretch probably around here. It's a bit ugly now, so let's put it here and then yeah, put it back to 0 here. Yeah. Keep in mind, do not make things smooth because you want, you know, for the sake of smoothness. But for fluid motion like this, I do, you know, want to make the motion read well. But for instance, like for the jumps, I deliberately pop them up and then let the rest follow. So you create texture in your animation where you try to pop things where it needs to pop. If there's an accentuation on your dialogue or on the motion, on the punch or jump or whatever, you try to really push the spacing on that to create nice rhythm and texture in your animation. Okay. Now for this other hand, let's add, I like the motion here. I'm not going to dive, I mean, when is animation finished, hey? When do you stop? And I gotta be very careful with my time here. So I do wanna, you know, go into some more pushing of stretch stuff, but this stuff is, you know, it can be, it's the difference between animating 5 seconds a week or 1 second a week. Okay, I'm working now on 70 frames, so that is roughly 3 seconds. Yeah, trying to be as fast as possible. So I gotta do some trade-offs here to get to a point where it's decent and nicely, and but not not polished on every frame. So okay, that's nice. I like that. There's a bit of a pop here. You see the leg is popping there. Maybe, yeah, like right here it goes and then it pops. You see, so I just gonna ease that pop a little bit by just pushing it like that. So yeah, next bit into the swarm, into the flow here. Now what I want to create, now that I'm watching it, I go to the chat in a second, by the way. Let me, because we're going to the swirl, I already want to instigate. So this arm I want to actually break. Where we go. Motion paths, bones. Why do I not see my annotations here? Oh, I've turned, did I turn them off previously? Right. Okay. So what I'm looking for is actually breaking this arm a bit, so it will swoop, and this arm will swoop as well. So you kind of get this, and the body swooping like that, swoop, swoop, swoop. And that already kind of like instigate that twist. So you kind of blend that motion by breaking arms, basically. So let's go to the chat and then we'll do that part. So, okay. How we go? Don't see any questions, and at least not directed to me, so we'll continue. Okay. Second on the middle part here. So we go here, and I want to break bones. I push this arm out of its, I'm breaking the rig here We don't see it, hopefully, there. And I basically take these controls, turn off my stretch, and rotate it the other way. Right here, going mental, guys. Going mental. And you're like, what? You gotta be kidding. What are you even doing? And then I say, wait. There it is. I'm like, where is this button? So if you scale this control right here, it doesn't do a lot. That's not good. That's stretch. It's not keyed a lot, so we need to probably key it later on. So from here, ooh, look, there we go. All of these bones need to be, that's except for you. So we make the swoop. Here, it's super broken. That's fine. Here too, but we're gonna straighten it again. And then here, same thing. I'm going to continue that swoop, and I'm just rotating the elbow a little bit. Sorry, the shoulder. Getting a little bit lower here, and then posing this arm like that. And then also adding those B bones. Actually, I do want to rotate a bit lower. And then create a nice arc to it. Hey, this bone is actually still unstepped, so it comes up, and we want to continue that trajectory, maybe scale it down a bit. And the trick is, with smears like this, you don't want to see them when you play it, you want to feel it, okay? So it's a big motion, and you feel it, you don't want to see it, so do the same for the other arm, because this one is fully broken by bendy bones. So, yeah, I'm not sure what's going on here. Gotta fix some stuff. Probably inherited from the blocking, where you just... Let me ask you a question for you guys. What do you think of an animation picker? All animators in the house, what would you say about an animation picker in Blender? And if you are working with it or in any other software? Let's go to the chat here. Do most animators use the unified PRS gadget instead of the individual position rotation gadgets? Well, I can only speak for myself. I key anything, everything at the same time. I want a pose to stick, and a pose involves scaling, not as much, rotating and location. I want to just make sure that I key everything rather than keying everything specifically. I will be shifting around keys from every channel once I really want to polish stuff. But generally I key everything at the same time, especially in blocking. Actually, on this move right here, come on. Ooh. I already want to rotate this body a bit more. Then this arm, same thing. You can ease out that stretch a little bit. Let's key it here. And then right here, I want to really curl it around the body. That shoulder is busted a little bit. So still stretching it a little bit there, because we make a big move. You kind of want to mimic motion blur a bit, like that. And let's make sure that right here, go back to normal, and also key, and then here, that's a bit busted. You rotate it like that. Actually, this is the other arm, right? This one I need. There. A bit lower. I don't mind about this area. We'll fix that later. And I don't mind about what's going on here. I'm looking at my camera view. That's holy. That's what's going to end up showing on the screen. Here, reset these values by R, Control R, Control G, and Control S. And then same for these guys, if they aren't already. There we go. And then we want to basically rotate the arm a bit backwards there. And then same thing. I'm just following. I try to follow the shape, how it's coming from this here, and we're working on this arm later. But this arm is coming in, swooshing the other way around, and then we continue on that. And that will create that very, fluent smear up. Great. Let's go to the other arm here. So it's going very busted, and I thought I keyed that pretty okay, but no. Let's see. Yeah, not sure what's going on there, but same here. Let me go to this frame here. Look at that. Scooting up, or don't want to block his face, so pushing it down a bit there. It's a bit so I would say don't hold your smears for too long. And here I do want to see what it looks like if we already push up even more. I want to, yeah, let's go back a little bit here on this one. I like this one, this stretch, but here it's already starting pretty early, so and then here, instead of going up like that, we already rotated down. So same here, I want to blend a little bit of that. This feels weird, hey? The stretch bones are really creating deformation that kind of okay. All right. That's that part. For the skates, let's do a little bit of a cleanup pass. So touching there, not going too far with the detail. Like it's ice. It's sliding, man. Come on. Oh, and there it's going a little bit low. So let's make sure the ice actually holding up to that, like, is actually feeling. And here. Same here. Let's see if we can stretch, and then now this is one, yeah. Let's see if we can do this in FK. I might want to set that switch a little later. Let's see how just because it's such a So on the stretch, let's key it there, accentuating that curve up. Again, this is cartoony world, so I can break and bend whatever I want. Oh, wrong bone, shit. Oh, there. Just spanning it a bit. All right. Hello, isn't I supposed to shed? Yeah. What is an animation picker? Good question. Animation picker is basically a mini map of your controls laid out in a mini map. So you basically have your, instead of having controls in your viewport like this, which can get a little daunting when you have, when you have a lot of controls, they're all intersecting with each other. You need to find that one control. So a picker is kind of, you can work without any controls and have your controls laid out in a map of your character, like a 2D image, and that shows you the buttons or like the bones there. So you can click your bones within the little mini map, and therefore you don't have to look for your bones in 3D view. I'm happy with that. So, I mean, I miss that. Okay, let's continue. So we're over an hour now, so let's go and continue this piece of splining, and then go into a little bit of overlapping action on the hat, and but let's finish splining first. So make this skate go a little bit more. And it jumps backwards into that FK pose. So let's give that a bit of blend. So let's see how that looks like. Yeah. Hoppa. And then when it comes together, still want to stretch them a bit, so and they're intersecting there, but I'm having a little bit of an idea here that I want to add. Okay, one thing I want to, we're losing our character here, is that little turn that's going, it suddenly turns mid-air into a different direction. right here. So it's turning and then suddenly, tuk, you see. So let's fix that. And yeah. We do want to end on this pose. So right here, I'm just going to blend it a bit. So there. Zoom. Cool. All right, you see those arms spinning there. I do want to break those arms more. I really want to have the feeling of a screwdriver. So I want to cross those arms, and I just do this frame by frame. I don't want to go into curves or anything. I'm just getting there by just muscling through and kind of get nice shapes that flow well. Am I a lazy animator? Yeah, maybe. But hey, that's our nature. We try to. As long as it looks good on camera, can cheat away. Actually push this arm out a bit and around like that. Nobody will notice. Nobody will see how I did this. Oh, there's a so you know, when you kind of know what you're doing, you feel more liberty to break things because you know you can fix them again, I guess. So that's why I don't mind breaking the rig, just to get an idea across. And this is not because yeah. So there's that, you see that twist? Whoop. I'm happy. Okay. Last bit, and then we'll go into some more polish. Are you adding details to the spin you made in the other stream? That's what I'm doing right now. This is the same animation. By the way, this is not sorry, I see somebody that's waiting for this movie to come out. This is not a separate movie. This is just an exercise. Okay. Where are you from? I'm from the Netherlands. The Netherlands. So I speak broken English and a little German. And Dutch, of course. Okay, let's go for the last part and do some polish. I do want to try one thing, and let me know if you guys think of this as funny. If you think it's terrible, let me know as well. So we end up here, and then suddenly we switch to IK again. Now, let's so we jump like that. It's intersecting a bit. We can just overlap it a little bit there. And then maybe rotate. I mean, just to. And then, right here, what if we actually rotate the feet a bit up? This is also a very cartoony thing to do. Let's see how this is, how it turns out. So you get a little bit of a kind of that idea. Let's see. Maybe it's a terrible idea. I don't know. Okay, I'm not happy with this. What am I even doing? Nah. Let's see. Give it a chance. Nah, I'm not into it. Control Z, Control Z. Let me save, actually. Last time I didn't save. I trust Blender not crashing. Control Z even more. Here. Okay. Save often, okay? Or auto save. So now we have to blend to this pose right here and make that turn happen. How do we blend? You could actually convert this key to FK and then copy it over just to get that. Actually, let me do that. So let me key this and also the pull factor, I guess, to the next frame. And this frame, I will switch it by, is this IKFK? Yes. I switch my left leg. Oh, let's also do my right leg. So like that. And then the previous frame, I hit this button right here and only bake existing frame. And then same for this one. Okay. Did it key? Yes. Okay. So you see it's already drifting, so we don't want that, but at least we have that same key there. And now we basically move that back a little bit. Wait a second. I lose my scale there. It's probably also... This foot has been stretched, of course. Yeah, it's been stretched a bit. Okay. That's fine. But this foot goes in pretty violently. And turns around like that. So see if we can ease that in a little bit. So I already have a little bit of bend there. Then when we go to this IK, okay. And then, ooh, look at that. Look at that key. Fantastic. It's not even a key, that's a gimbal, I guess. So it's one of those moments where I don't mind. Yeah, there's a gimbal right there for you. Or maybe it's not a gimbal even. Maybe it's just me, my broken animation there. And this is something else I'm confused by, that every... so I think it's... yeah, so here you see. I don't think it's a gimbal, but it's... if I do this... yeah, there we go. Just align it. So now if I, in between, it's actually... see, it's going quite far into the Z space. If I look at this, yeah, it's not making too much sense. So, and that is actually the X. So I could basically, what if we just delete it? Wait, this rotation, sorry, X. Even here we could almost be there. And then it's rotating, so we can rotate. Is this... yeah. So we keep it a little bit straight there, right at the end, getting out of frame. Getting... it's a little bit of a shoot there. It's a bit too aggressive. So I already want this to be closer there, because I did take that pose. Clean this up a little bit. It's going through the floor. Same here. And we don't see it here, but hey. Okay. What's up? Won't quaternion rotation prevent Euler lock? Yes, I think so. I think so. I don't know. But that's something I am not used to working with as a simple animator. So, but I think that's the reason why that exists. Quaternion rotation. I have to look into that, how that even works. But that should be a solution to that. Okay, arms. We have a little bit of popping here and there, so let's jump to the arms here. So we come out of the roll. There's a bit of a pop. Here I want same thing. I want to accentuate the overall motion. So the curve of this arm is going to accentuate that as well. And go back here. And right here, same thing. I still want to. The shoulder is way too high here. So let me actually. What if I reset it? There we go. Like that. Comes down and then it reaches that. So it has a nice arc to it. Again, this is not it's not perfect. I could spend I would say another day to perfect those arcs. And you see the lower arm is frozen there, so want the arm to overshoot a little bit here, so go straight, a little bit straight, and then go back towards. So I want to kill this basically. So you keep it nice and tight, and then when we go up, we go down with the. It goes straight, so I do want to create a little bit of overlap there. Set a key here. This is a bit mushy, and then just blending my frames with the breakdowner, actually with the Blend to Neighbor tool. I don't want it to hit this wall, so. The other hand. So this form of animation is, I think, called layered approach, where you layer your motion on top of the main motion, and this works well with these kind of dynamic body mechanics sequences, where you look for the energy of the motion instead of very specific posing. I do usually do a bit of both. But this is very much layered, the layered approach, where I just started with the main body control and started using it as a bouncing ball and work from there. Phase rigs confuse me. Any tips how to get them to work, not make them crash? Yeah, that's more... it has to do with the rig probably, or with Blender, or with the laptop. Can you sculpt with a mouse? Can try. What advice would you give to someone who's starting to learn Blender? I've only started learning Blender a year ago, but I've been animating in Maya all my life. A little bit of Cinema 4D. I mean, start small, man. Start with a simple. Start modeling, I guess, just to get the principles of 3D, and do a modeling course on YouTube. And then go from there. I started in 3ds Max actually when I was 14 years old, just fiddling around with 3D software. And then I accidentally keyed one of my objects. I didn't know you were able to animate, like to make things move. That was like mind blow moment where you're like, man, now I can make Pixar movies. 20 years later, making an ice skating cartoon here. Okay. The other arm. For the other arm, let's see. So I gotta admit, this session of animation is very much freestyling. I'm having fun here. It's less of a this wouldn't be a production workflow, I guess. So in that sense, yeah, it's not as representative as production workflow, but we'll get into more detailed like acting shots later next year, if you guys would like that. So with this arm, I want to overshoot a bit and then go back. So that, and actually already here, moving back. There's a bit of action here when he's turning around and his head is moving at the same time with his body, so I tend to move his body up a little bit and rotate it down, and then grab the head. Not this one. This one. It does switch quite fast around here. Favor one side, switch over, land a bit, and then here, yeah, it scoots down because of the body. Let me counter animate that a little bit so it doesn't have that much of a, yeah, it doesn't have that much of a overshoot. Now for the turn, it goes a bit sideways, so we can definitely clean that up. Having the head also accentuate that curve a little bit there. So, and then here it shoots to the side. So we try to make that a bit more clean, so we keep the head more stable. This hang time, and you just do this frame by frame. If I was working on 60 frames per second, I would be way more working on my curves, but Bit of a twist in the body and then twisting back. Okay. Could do a little bit of stretching in the a little bit of stretching in the face here, just on some parts where it's going fast, like here, this part. So just key the beginning and the end, and then when it's coming down, just stretching the head a little bit. And here, let's see, coming down. What if we actually then it pops up, but yeah, put it a bit more forward. It's going fast, so let's see what happens if I just scale it. It's terrible. Terrible idea, Eric. Here a bit higher, actually. All right. That's a splining pass where, yeah, I'm pretty happy with it. Could make this part a little bit more clean with the legs here, especially these poses. That's kind of like bind them together a bit more. Same here, but then again, we are going into this. So maybe we do want to already bend this one a little bit. Okay. All right. What about the chat? Hey. He's probably got a good computer for sure. It's a decent computer. It's not super. These rigs are pretty lightweight. So if you download the rig from the Blender Cloud, yeah, try it yourself. You don't need a massive expensive machine to make animation. If you do rendering, or I guess rendering or lighting, yes, then you need the power to render, but for animation, don't need a lot. Question. What kind of what would you ask the animator yourself? I just don't know what question to ask the animator. Specs, by the way, are in the description. So we're leaning a bit too much forward here. Sorry, sometimes it's good to not look at your screen and kind of get a fresh eye. It does feel like he's coming from quite a... So let's see what happens if we pull him back a little bit, just to get the center of gravity a bit more believable under his... All right, let's animate Santa's head. Okay, because tons of people have been asking for that. Yes, and also, yeah, some were asking about maybe let it fly. By the way, I made this model myself. And look at that. How beautiful. All right, so first off, we're gonna come up with the idea of maybe let the head actually, sorry, I can't help but just see some archy stuff that's not. Okay, let's go over the hat. There's always stuff where you're like, I wish I could touch that bone, but all right, this could be a cool moment to actually lift that hat so it's being popped off and then put back on again. So let's put a key right here. So on the upwards position here, and then it kind of like floats off a little bit. I do keep it keyed on the and actually I didn't put my keys to Berger, but because my keys were already Berger, I guess they automatically transfer. So let it fly off a little bit here and make it feel like it's ultimately a space switch would be great. I just use a simple, yeah, you could space switch it to make accurate wall space keys. For this demo, it goes down a bit too fast, so and then on the spin, yeah, that's something would be cool. That when the Santa's hat is in the air, it's not spinning, so it keeps like just floating up. He's spinning, comes down again. For I would say half an hour we've left. It's a bit too much, so let's just could maybe spin it off a little bit there, or like lift it up a little bit. Look at the inside. Look how that's modeled. People are gonna and then back on again. Let's hide that part, so we just rotate it back. Nobody will notice. I do feel like it's a bit stuck on his head. Yeah, this one I'm not. Let's do it once, okay? Never to do a joke twice, so let's keep it on there. We'll do the overlapping with the. I like this, and then we'll do something else there, just for the sake of time and complexity of things. So, All right. Now, animating hair or any additional objects is basically following the motion dictated by the parent or by the initial force, which is Rex's head. So I basically grab the FK bones like this, and I start animating them, and then I'll adjust those keys later on. So I just go, and actually let's see. Let's go a bit closer. So that this would be. So I don't grab the master or like this bone. I just grab the second, third, and fourth. Okay. So we come in, and it's already having a little bit of speed. So we lift it up, put a key down. And here it's going down like that. It goes down, so that means that it's dragging a bit. So we push it up a little bit like that. Okay, we could even stretch it a little bit there. And then right here, it turns his head, but we drag it a little bit. So we push it down like this. So there. For the silhouette's sake, let's just push it. This rig is not supporting that. Okay. Copying this key over. Actually, if I don't select this one, yeah, I could push it a bit more to the side. Key it. And here, we just keep it, copy over one of these earlier keys. So that's kind of our initial shape. And then when it comes down, we kind of like let it flop up. And don't mind the angle here, but it's kind of like that. I'm so roughly blocking it out, so it's kind of like we'll deal with the final shape later. And here it's glued to his head, eh? So here his head is going to the right, so we do want to kind of drag that behind a little bit there. Okay, so and then there. I'm a little bit sloppy on this one, so but it's gonna be fine. So here it's good, and then here it really needs to be coming very, very much dragging from down here. So something like that. This is quite a big jump, hey? You could even say like, okay, let's finish this first, and then there are more. So we do a little bit of a twist on the head as well, same as the arms. Key it. Sure that the silhouette is clear. So get a little bit in front of the face maybe. Here it's behind, which is fine. And here it kind of like releases a little bit more. And then goes a little bit more up. Like that. And then I'm coming up, it's not that I planned this, just coming up with how I would imagine this thing to move, which comes down to, you know, when you're animating for longer than a period of time, you kind of like get these tricks and ways how things are flowing. And here it would be fun to actually reverse that thing a little bit more in front. Actually, let me turn off the stretch bones. So it's actually going this way here. Coming down and then its hand is going in through it. So let's push it a bit aside. So here. Oh, rotate. Could push that hand out of the way too. Actually, I'm not sure about. Yeah, let's not let's not do this. So it comes down and then it rotates like that. So it's coming down and then what happens if I put this key here? Yeah, and then wait, that's not the bone I want. Okay, like that. And then going down, and then we're out of frame. Okay, first pass. Now, second pass. What is the second pass? Now we're gonna do some, so the keys are all in the same frame and we're gonna pretty much leave it like that, but I'm going into cleaning up some of the shapes by, so this thing is already going up, as you can see, but we don't want that. So this last two is pushing it down a little bit. And then here, this thing might go up and then this, actually I want to hide these bones because I don't need them. Now I'm just posing these individual bones where it feels a bit more like I feel like, and then it's coming down pretty fast here. So I tend to, you know, drop something. I tend to put in keys so I got something to work with as fast as possible. I animate drunk and I edit sober because it's way easier to iterate over something. And of course you need to plan it. So this is, and for minor things like this, I don't necessarily plan it because there's no one right answer to it. Okay. You can do this a lot of ways. And yes, this is a bendy bone head. A little bit of that. And then instead of going this quick, there we go. And we do want to twist it actually. Okay. I'm mostly working on the tip right now just to get that a little bit more more following right. And here there's that like little twist and I'm not a fan of that, so comes down, same twist, it's a bit weird, so just adjusting the pose there. Again, this is not the greatest rig, it's been slapped on for this video, so it's a custom made especially for you guys. And then a little bit of stretching on this last bone here. Let's see. Okay. That's cool. Boom. Then here we actually change direction with the head. It's going down, but also forward, or like this way. So we make a little bit of an S-curve to change directions and stretch it. Stretch it. Already pushing the head a little bit to the side. And then here, like that. Tweaking things a little bit here. Yeah, so it's dragging. And here I actually want already gravity to take over. So like that somewhere. The tip is still being dragged to the top. To what? What am I even saying? Animating and talking at the same time, man. That's... Okay. Did we already try to stretch this one? Maybe not. And what we can do even more is scaling it. There we go. Every control I have, I try to put in there. If you scale it and you want to preserve volume, make sure you scale the other axes down so it feels like it's actually stretching. And then here, what? Oh, SX. Wait, SX. There you go. Great. Okay. What time are we? Okay. Let's say we have 20 minutes left, so I'm going to finish this and then push it a little bit further. Let's see. Okay, let me scroll up a little bit here. Okay, I'm going up a little bit. I'm not sure if I get all of your questions, but how long is the deadline for one shot in Blender Studio? At Sprite Fright, we had an average. It depends on the shot. If you have a shot of 1 second long with 10 characters, it's going to be different than a shot of 1 second with only 1 character. So it depends per shot. But average of 5 seconds per week. Some shots, as I said, take a little bit longer. Other shots shorter. So it averages out. But 5 seconds per week. I know bigger studios, at Sony, for example, it's like roughly 3 seconds a week. But again, on some shows, it's 1 second per week because they have more budget or it just the style demands it. And yes, so that's that. So which software does big studio use? Primarily, like I know Pixar and DreamWorks, they use their own software, in-house developed, so very optimized. But Sony and Disney and some other major studios are using Maya, but a very modded version of Maya. Because Maya itself is kind of, I'm not going to talk trash about Maya, but it's all about the add-ons and in plugins that make it nice to animate in Maya.
Okay. I mean, sorry, I'm reading some comments here. Only 1 year of learning. That's admirable for a man of your standards. It's like animating in different software. It comes down to the same principle. So it's just the buttons are somewhere else. So you gotta kind of reshape your muscle memory of animating fast. And the switch to Blender took me quite a bit to get adjusted to, but it's nice now. I like it. Apologize if this was asked already. Apologies, sorry. Do you use auto key or manually key? I use both. Sometimes I want to key all of my objects, but I do have auto key on. So, but sometimes I do want to key objects deliberately. Benny Bonehead, yes. Okay. All right, let's, we got roughly, yeah, let's see. Roughly 15, 20, maybe a little bit longer. So get your questions in, guys. If you have any questions, happy to answer. If I missed any questions, please repost them. I hope I can see them. Let's continue on the Santa hat here. So this part, and then we go up, then the twist, and I'm trying to get a little bit of appeal into the shapes here of the hat flying around his face. Where are you? Here. So and I'm basically looking at, yeah, how to explain it. How would I draw this in 2D? So think about silhouette. And but also the flow of shapes. If that makes any sense. Sorry if I'm rambling too much. I apologize. I try to animate and talk at the same time, which is not something I do a lot. And the spacing of this thing is not the most clear, but so this is some example where just to get a little bit of inside info, like it's coming down. It gives it quite a bit of a spacing here. So it comes down, and spacing is like the distance that it travels per frame. So I'm tracking the little dot on the end here. So it's going down, and then suddenly it stays there. That's what you want to avoid, because the velocity is so fast. Unless you're hitting the ground or a wall, you want to make sure that the velocity continues down. So the gravity. And actually, I might just pushing this one down a little bit. Wait, this one, maybe this one up a little bit. So I'm averaging out the spacing there, and then the next frame I want to move it even further down. So it's actually, and then here even more. So I'm just pushing it down there. So it actually becomes this arc. See, it's coming down and then switches around his head. And then right there, we just bounce it back a little bit. Let's bounce it up. There. Okay. Let's have a look. The last part off screen is really throwing me off. So that's actually, that's not what you're supposed to see, all right? Yeah, it could drag a little bit more right at the end here. It comes down pretty fast. So right here, actually push it up a bit more. Even here, push it up a bit more. Down, and down, and then here it's going a bit too fast down. So I try to, and then here maybe a bit more down, and then I'm tweaking just frame by frame here. Oh, I don't like this key. But then it needs to go down, so. Something like that. Cool. All right. One sec. Cool. All right. Now, what else? Another pass I would do is just do the fingers and the face. And then last up, I clean up some of the shapes where they are intersecting. Could add a little bit more bends to the arms here and there. So right here, for instance. And it's just an appeal pass, basically. So I turn off all my controls except for the right here, same thing. I want to kind of we'll definitely do a pass on the hands. Let's see. And also there's some spacing stuff here that's not very clean. Yeah. I want to push this pose a little bit. And then here, even I want to have it there. Then I don't want to have it behind the hand, so I just rotate it back. And there it pops out again. Just to keep this, sorry if I'm mumbling again. Oh man. So there, create a little bit of, and this character really asks for, you know, bend those bones a little bit more. if you work on more realistic stuff, don't overbend. But this is basically a chewy Muppet. And that's where you can do stuff like this. Even bring that arc up a little bit. Whoa, maybe not. Push it back a little bit. Also to okay. Let's see. So if I now am changing anything, you know, for let's say I want to change the head, I also need to change the hat. So Santa's hat. So always animate your head last. Don't start overlapping things while still working on. I do a pass on the hands a little bit here, and then I'll do a pass on the fingers. There's a couple of moments here where I feel like the poses are a bit strange. Not to, let me get it a bit more profile here, and then it swoops down. And swoop down. Swoop. I swoop a lot, man. So it creates a bit more of an ease there right at the end with the hand. Okay, now for the fingers, there's a couple of moments where you could actually make nice plays and drag them along. Don't be too draggy with the fingers, I would say. They're pretty rigid things, so you don't want to overdo that. But if the time is there, or when it's really an opportunity to do that, like for instance here, let me turn on the fingers. And for fingers, I pretty much rely on post library, and it's not even keyed. So let me put a key. I put a key in the beginning and the end, so I can easily blend between the default pose. Go here, put a key, and then when it swoops back, oh, maybe not. I could do it here, actually. Sorry. I go to the post library, go to my hands, and create some. It's set to no. Oh, I need to flip the pose before I can use the mirror side. Now it's doing that. It's maybe a bit. So what this is default, and you know, you kind of like splay it a bit more. And you can blend different poses if you feel like, I want it to spread more, but then do a little bit of that, a little bit of flavor. It's like put in your ingredients. So there. And then here we basically go back to that initial shape, which is just pushing it back a bit more. And then here, instead of having the splay there, I just want to bring them down. I'm just adding in some it's not rotating. Thinking out loud, I see that the arm is not even rotating here, so but that's how I kind of add in some posing for the hands. And then here, same thing, when it's coming down, you might need to, you know, splay them a little bit. And this is just blocking. For fingers, I always say, like, I don't always say, I kind of have a rule of thumb, like the further away a character is, the less detail the animation needs to be. So don't go pixel walking on fingers when it's super far away. You could add some cool poses here, and then right at the end, this is a cool moment where you actually spray the hand there. So it's like it's coming down. Wait, I need to. Oh, my mirror shortcut doesn't work. I'm working on a different machine here than I normally do. So I see like my mirror shortcut, which is, I just transformed it to M instead of Control-Shift-M or something. Just to keep things easy. So this might be a moment to play the other hand. And I need to flip the pose. There you go. So nice silhouette, adding some, actually go a bit this way. And then going back. So it adds a bit of a actually close it a bit more. That. Okay, when we come in here, could actually come in with more of a fist, and then it jumps and then it opens up. So where are we? Fist. Like that. Comes in with a fist. Jumps. Let's keep it nice and tight. It's easy to have when you have a pose library. I know when you have your own character, this stuff is all you need to make them. So we did this in pre-production for I would say Spring, but it's Sprite Fright. And then here, spray it out to there. A little bit of this. Yeah, this arm intersects there a little bit. Here. So goes there, and then suddenly it goes behind this, or through his pants there. So how are we going to solve that? Just pushing it there. And then blend that a little bit more. Oh, didn't put a key there. Did I? I didn't put a key there. That's a bit unfortunate, but I can. Bring it in a little bit more from below, and then it comes up like that. I'm still tweaking my stuff here. Well. Okay. Let that hand drag a little bit on that here. Okay. Time Irie. Okay. All right. I think we're pretty much to the end. Let's take a look where we got, where we went, where we... And don't want to see the sides, so let me just... Ultimately, we can make a play last of it, but here we go. Yeah, that's... Again, give me one more day. Little tiny tweaks here and there, but I'm pretty happy how this turned out. Some fun, slow and fast motion going on. And actually, that first jump going backwards is basically a big antic to the turn. So it goes there, it's already anticing the turn there, and then going back. So now it's fun to actually go back to our initial planning or the sketch to see what was the initial idea here. And yeah, it's the thing that I changed is the end. It felt a bit too chaotic to actually have him turn around, because I didn't came out nicely with the end there, and then make that turn quick in the end before leaving the screen was a bit it felt a bit unclear, a bit hard to read, so that's why we went for a simple like backwards exit. So yeah. Cool. Thanks, guys. Let's go to some more questions and okay. And I didn't animate the hair. I'm sorry. But for X, it's not. You could say the Santa's head is a ponytail, and that would kind of be the same approach to how to animate it. Let's go to some chats here. 3 to 5 seconds a week. Please show us a cycles frame. I mean, I can show you a bit of, but it's probably needs to preload the textures. Yeah, so that's pretty fast. Does it play real time? Not really. But hey. Could make a play last like this, and we save it to desktop. Why not? And we call it Rex skating .mp4, just for the sake of, and that's that. Let's do some quick settings. I'm not gonna bother you with this. No audio. And then view. There is a dessert for you guys. Let's go through some. How do you rename pose assets? I think you can rename them in the actual pose file. So where the poses are stored is not this file. It's linking to a different file where the poses are created. That's where you can rename your pose assets, I believe. This is 3.0, Blender 3.0. So this is not rendering. We'll do a proper render later. Somebody else can render this way better than I do. Sir, this animation is on ones, not on twos. Yes, that is true. Yesterday was a blocking. I planned this to be on ones, other than Sprite Fright itself, just to, you know, do something else. Shortcut for add bendy bones. I don't know. Why not using motion path, the motion path feature? Yeah, I could use that to be very picky about my, and I would actually do that once I, when I have more time. It's a more time consuming thing to really go and do it with the, I'm winging it right now here. Okay. Sometimes you gotta improvise. So that's what I'm doing here. But yes, motion path is a nice tool that I might use later in the future. Face. Yeah, I can see your disappointment from here. We haven't touched the face yet on this motion. We could, but it's less important for this shot. I would definitely touch the face, put in some, well, even blinks you won't read, but you could add some mouse shapes, some stuff in there. We'll do more facial animation when on a dialogue shot later on. How would you go fixing the clipping of geometry? There are a couple of ways to it. You do have, and actually let me just show you this animation. Can I go to, oh, wait. We can go here, desktop. That's pretty cool. There's a gray background, by the way, but other than that, it's fun. The question, clipping geometry, yes. A couple of ways you can do it. Actually put this back here. There's this add-on. It's called Lattice Magic, made by Demeter, our rigger. And you could actually add, let's say I have something clipping here. And I'm not going through any, like, okay, this is something clipping here. And I put my 3D cursor there. Okay. And I want to parent it, of course, to the arm or the shoulder, maybe. Let's do the arm. And it's called, I guess, FK Oh, let's do shoulder, FK shoulder R. And then I create a tweak lattice. Okay, now I've got a couple of extra options, but what it did, it created basically an extra bone. It's not a bone, it's a lattice. I can change the radius here. And now I can actually move that out a little bit and pose it wherever I want. And it's probably following, I hope so. Yeah, it's following the rig. So you can add custom shapes like this. If you have a local rig, like it's appended, because this is a linked-in rig, you can actually do shape keys. But for this show we did, or for this project, we used lattice bones to kind of like work our way around any deformations. This is a free add-on somewhere on GitHub, I guess. And another thing that's cool to show, you can also make camera lattices. So what does that mean? This is, yeah. And then I'll stop the stream, okay? Plus collection, I guess, Rex. Camera. How big do we want the resolution to be? 15. Generate lattice. Oh, that doesn't work. Diameter. It's not working. Did I do something wrong? Collection. Object set mode. Are we in the wrong mode here? Maybe. Sorry guys, I was about to show you something really cool. And yeah, no. This needs to be fixed. It's an add-on and we'll fix this. But what it basically would do, I love live streams. You got the real action. It creates a grid and it creates a grid and you can actually move your points on the grid, and it's basically a warp tool where you can warp based on the camera. It's super cool. I'm a bit sad that it's not working, but maybe I'm using the wrong collection here. Object mode. Am I not in object mode? I am. Oh wait, do I need to select maybe the geometry here? Turn you off. Maybe I'm just full and I need just to select all the geometry and actually don't see any bones, so I select the geometry and not eyes. I create a plus. Not sure. Okay, it did create something. Ooh, okay, it did it. I had to select the objects and I'm a fool, I guess. So now if I go into edit mode, I can select these points and let me turn on this or go here. So it creates this grid, and now if I turn on my manipulator, oh yeah, as you can see, I didn't select all of the objects, but now you can actually deform and key your you can 2D distort your animation and push your poses even more with a 2D style. So pretty cool. It works. It's just me. So yeah, you have to select your
yeah, you have to select your objects first before you even use it. So anyway, that was it, guys, for this stream. I hope you liked it. And yeah, I'm looking at the chat right now. Sorry if you answered this already, but how are the post thumbnails generated? Yeah, that's something for, there's a tutorial, I believe, on the post library. If it's not there, there will be a live stream probably soon about that, if it's not there. Camera isn't in the collection. Okay, yeah, we figured that out. All right, thanks, guys. Yeah, I hope you liked it. Facial animation we'll do in another shot where facial animation is actually more apparent. And I'll see you next time. Cheers.